You've given examples, particularly in your article, about situations where two people could clash in a market.
Yes.
For example, what happened in Kano,
Yes.
where a woman had a clash with a neighbor
Yeah.
in a next-door shop.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there were allegations of blasphemy, and it ultimately led to a lynching. The woman
Yes.
lost her life. And her husband, who watched her die, sadly was forced to leave the town.
Yeah.
Nobody in this particular case in Kano has been prosecuted for this. There were several arrests,
Yes.
but then the case came to a dead end.
Yeah.
So this is part of what we're talking about.
It's part
of what the problem is.
Yes, and in depoliticizing these issues, it's important that we do not allow individual altercations or interpersonal conflicts become interpreted as intergroup or intercommunal conflicts as well. Now, in this particular instance, this was an altercation between two neighboring traders in the market. But if you are familiar with the history of urban unrest in this country, you will find that a great many instances of intergroup conflict or so-called communal clashes actually begin as altercations between two people. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is, in the course of reporting these events or in the course of interpreting these events, the two individuals become proxies for different groups, and therefore in a way the conflict suddenly becomes a group conflict, whereas it's an interpersonal conflict. And one of the things we must do if we're serious about law and order, a commitment to law and order, mm-hmm. is to make sure that interpersonal conflicts remain interpersonal conflicts. Individuals must not become representative of whatever ethnic group or religious group they claim to belong to, or they claim to be acting on behalf of. So in this instance, you have an individual who clearly committed a crime. He should be punished as an individual. It's not his ethnicity or his religion that is on trial. His ethnicity and religion are almost irrelevant. He is the individual, and he alone must bear responsibility for the crimes he has committed.
So is there a reluctance, do you think, on the part of the administration to see things as that and to act accordingly, to just pinpoint the person who committed these crimes and make sure that they face the penalty for their criminal actions?
I think there is a reluctance. There are two issues. One is reluctance, one is capacity. But even in this instance where the facts are fairly well known, mm-hmm. So the issue arising here is not that of capacity, it's will to do what is right and proper. And the fact that, as I said at the beginning, we've not come properly to understand and to establish the state as a neutral force. So where people in leadership, in the critical institutions of the state, are tasked with resolving issues like this, they let their own prejudices and their own biases shape and warp their judgments. And those things continue to bring the state into disrepute. So for people growing up who are familiar with this pattern of indecision by the state, they come to believe that the state simply cannot be trusted. The state is not seen as neutral. It is not seen as fair. And therefore, once people come to believe that the state cannot deliver justice, then they will take the law into their own hands. They will seek to deliver justice. And then they begin to retreat into their ethnic groups, their religious groups. Yes.
Because this is where they find their
safety and security.
Safety and security.